Hi team, Wayne here, and today I wanted to talk to you about this thing that we call the adoption curve. I wanted to spend a little bit of time giving you some background to the adoption curve, get a bit of a sense of how we came to use it, what it's all about. Today is not the day where we go through all the individual stages, that's for later. This is about understanding why we have it and what we want to use it for. So in the first instance, the adoption curve is something that we designed essentially as a map. And we use it as a map in the same way as if you were going to go on a multi-day hike through a mountainous region. And let's say it was going to be 4 or 5 days. And each day you have a certain amount of walking, you go up, you go down, you find your camping place, it's near water, various things. Then the next day off you go to the next place, you go to the next place, you go to the next place, and eventually you get to your final destination. So the map tells you where the different camping sites are, and it may not be a straight line from the beginning to the end. And each day your focus is to get from your starting point to that next stage, or next camping site. And at various times you may use a compass or other landmarks to try and identify where you are, so you know exactly where you need to go from there. The map is a tool. And I think most people would say it's probably a pretty useful tool in that circumstance. And to set out without that tool would be fraught with danger. You would be thinking, I'm going to spend a lot of time walking, and the potential is I get lost and I use a lot of energy and may not get where I'm going and may have to turn back and start all over again. The whole thing could just go completely wrong. In the same way, I want you to think of the adoption curve as a map. This time, it's a map of behavior. And the behavior we're talking about is the behavior of our customers. So we recognize that for all of us in the commercial business, our primary job is to influence the behavior of others. So to seek to change their behavior from here to there. It might be about which brand of contact lenses they use. It might be about their confidence in recommending certain brands, and also their confidence in building their overall contact lens business as we seek to drive category growth. All of that we achieve by influencing the behavior of others. So when we're seeking to influence behavior, we need to understand a little bit about how behavior works. In today's society, we get bombarded with suggestions of things that we should do, things that we should buy, things that we should spend our money on. And we all have all of these filters in our behaviors that basically block most of those things out. So we're not trying to evaluate everything that comes at us. We exist primarily by using a small group of things that we buy, things that we spend money on, and they're things that we trust, and they make our lives safe and hopefully enjoyable and various other things. So when we're trying to get someone to change their behavior, we need to think about how we seek to break into that space of trust with the existing. And one of the things that we generally seek to create is curiosity, and curiosity around potential better state, and then a safe path, step by step, to go from here, didn't know about the product at all the way up the staircase to here where that's my new most trusted friend. And that's the thing that I use all of the time. So if you think about different sorts of things that come at us, like you probably wouldn't go and see a film without watching the trailer first. You may not want to try a different sort of skincare product without using a sample. You might not want to buy a whole lot of a new food without tasting a sample. And all of these things are ways that we try and help people break through from I've never heard of that, or I've heard of it but I don't know anything about it, to I'm prepared to start using it and spending my money on it and bringing it into my circle of trust. When you think about those sorts of concepts, you're now starting to understand what sits behind this thing that we call the adoption curve. So when I say what is the adoption curve, the temptation is to say, oh, it's awareness, trial, niche. Yes, they're the stages of the adoption curve. But what is the adoption curve? It's a map. It's a map of sequential behaviors. And those sequential behaviors are quite predictable. Because we sell contact lenses and they are things that people use on their eyes, pretty precious, and we work with eye care practitioners and we seek to ask them to recommend our product, we're in a bit of a rarefied space. So we need to, in the first instance, help an eye care professional form an opinion about a product and form such a strong opinion that they don't just know about it, they don't just trust it, but they actually recommend it as a professional for their customers who are patients, people who give their trust to the eye care practitioner. So there is a tremendous amount of trust in this relationship and a lot of professionalism in the process of having someone recommend. So when you think about all of those things, then you think about all those natural filters as to why we are cautious about new things that we've never heard about before. You realize how just to simply go out and say, here's this product, it's a great product. Here's this product, it's a great product. Here's this product, it's a great product. It's a very blunt instrument. It's a very blunt instrument given the challenges that we've just recognized of getting an eye care practitioner to not just know about, not just trust, but actually reach the point of recommending a particular brand of contact lens. So we want to get smarter and not just go out and say, here's this, it's good. We actually want to be able to almost hold the hand of an eye care practitioner and walk them along a defined process, a map. So going from where we start to the first campsite and then to the next campsite and so on and so on. So to do that, we need first of all to understand the logic behind the stages. And if you think about it, nothing to awareness, awareness to trial, trial to niche use or narrow usage, to I want to start to use this with new wearers, to eventually I want to start to switch existing wearers of other brands, my old trusted product to my new trusted product, and then to use this product to drive my overall business. It's like a staircase. And going from each stair to the next it's not just noise, it's a logical next step. And that next step can be helped along with the right sorts of messages, the right sorts of activities, not just here, look at this, here, look at this, here, look at this, this is good, this is good, this is good, or I'll do you a good deal, I'll do you a good deal, I'll do you a good deal. So we want to move from using blunt instruments to using very precise instruments. And the nature of using a precise instrument requires two things in particular. One, just like using a map, you need to know where you are at any given moment. So to become great salespeople, key account managers, and marketing people utilizing the tool of the adoption curve, first thing we've got to get good at is recognizing at any one moment for any one practitioner, for any one product, where are they currently on the adoption curve? We don't need to get too clever with this because generally the best way to find out is to ask them, how do you currently use this product? And between asking them and looking at things like how much trial lens they use and how much product they use and how that's changed over the last few months, it should be quite obvious where they're at. And the second is to become good at knowing what sort of conversation I need to have to get from there to there. Because I'm not trying to sell someone from going from the beginning of a 5-day journey to the end point in one big jump. I'm simply telling them about, okay, today you're going to walk 10 kilometers. You're going to follow this sort of a path, and this is where you're going to finish up. And that's all we need to worry about for now. I'm not going to sell the whole journey. I'm just going to talk about getting from here to there first. Doing those two things sets you up to be a wonderful user of this tool that we call the adoption curve. And that's what I want from you. My ambition is to see everyone in sales, marketing, commercial operations in CooperVision Asia Pac become students of the adoption curve and become advocates of it and use it for every customer, in every call, in every event, at every stage of build of our products. To do that means for all you salespeople out there, for every call, before we start the call, we remind ourselves, where do we believe the customer is at? Where were we trying to move them to in our last call? And so we're ready to have that tailored conversation, to check in what's happened since then, and then to be ready to have that next conversation if they have in fact moved, or to go back and revisit the last conversation if in fact they haven't moved. So mastery is making sure that every conversation with every customer is always tailored to the exact point that they are currently on the adoption curve, seeking to simply move them to the next stage. If you're up for that, we've achieved everything we want to achieve for today. Later, we can work at getting to be masters at understanding each of the stages and what those conversations look like to move from A to B, from B to C, from C to D, etc. But for now, I just want you to understand that and to be ready for this journey. Thanks.